We've got the professor up here, Mr. Martin Young from Perth Racing. Firstly, congratulations on barrier 13. I know it's a barrier that's very close to your heart.
Well, thanks for that, Rich. We come into 11 now with the emergencies if they don't get a run, and that's we've got Lucky Grey inside of us. I think we drew 10 in the Guineas, 13 in the Nordley. He's a horse who needs to be out. He's not suited when he's in, and I couldn't be happier.
Chopped out at his last run. I think God Has Spoken sort of got in his way a little bit there, and in the final 200 he just wasn't tested out.
Paul's like that. Once they're out of contention, he sits up on them, and that was good, for us. But he hopped off the horse and said, "Well, with any sort of a luck, we were right in the finish." So
he was just about to pick up, wasn't he?
He was, and if you have a look at him. You've got to sort of just get up him a little bit before the bend and get him into clear running and get him going, and then he can let down that big booming finish of his, and he didn't get a chance to let that down. So his work here today, I thought it was some of the best work of the morning. I really do. I'm not looking through rose-coloured glasses, but his work was exceptional. So we just go in there and,
have a ping.
Well, when we booked Corey Brown, he rang up the next day and said, been through his videos, I hope you're putting the blinkers back on. And that was last week. So I guess it goes to show how professional these guys are.
They're brilliant, aren't they? It must be a thrill for you, Marty, going into this race with a realistic chance. In all honesty, he's got to be a big show.
Well, just to have a runner in the race. Yeah. Whereas I can remember a few years ago, we went in as favourites with local product to the Calgary Cup. And... what was that?
I was just watching the Nordley. He put in 2 surges there. That was the impressive thing. He had his first surge to get to them to about the 150, and then he could have given it away, and then he surged again.
And he needed the run that day, Rich. He actually pulled up I still believe 50 metres out, his run probably come to an end, but he toughed it out. That was one of his real tough wins.
Sorry to interrupt. Get back to local product.
Look, I can remember, and I'd been a good boy all week with my wife and children, and they were only kids those days in Kalgoorlie, and it got to me Friday night. Nerves of having the Calgary Cup favourite, and I think I was out to about 3, and the next day I was severely hungover. I'm in the grandstand, and I looked down and I saw old George Grillisich, who we grew up as kids with in the back of his yard, and I was going, what am I doing trying to win a Calgary Cup? He deserves one before me, and he actually won it with Priceless Matt. And I think he just had a knee op, and he was walking around with a walking stick and things like that, and I think, it just didn't feel right. That year, and of course poor old local product bled badly in that race, and he came back for Harrow, and I think he might have had 1 or 2, but he'd been a great horse for us. He won about 4 or 5 in the city.
Didn't you have a Bunbury Cup winner going back a few years ago, Marty?
Yeah, Belarus.
But that's right, you had a bit of fun with that horse, didn't you?
Touch wood, I haven't been an unlucky owner, that's for sure. We had a great win with Miller's Fancy in the Esperance Cup. That was one of my all-time great wins, as far as an event and a day. It was like winning the Kalgoorlie Cup, because all the Kalgoorlie people were down there. They loved going to that Esperance Cup. And
isn't it a great track?
Oh, it's a great track. They bet 13-2, and the late great Scobie O'Donnell, I think he'd played games with him the week before, got beaten as a 2-on favourite at Esperance. May have been dehydrated, according to the stewards. So we got 13-2, and he was a great horse, Miller's Fancy. He could have been a real superstar, Miller's Fancy. He had things gone right in the early stage of his career. We only had him for 4 starts, but so to get into this race, and I've got to thank Craig Thompson for giving me a chance to get into this horse, King Saul.
What a great man he's been for local racing, though,
He's
Marty.
A star.
And what a day ahead. We were hoping that he'd be here today. He's in China for a few days, but he'll be back for Super Saturday. And as an owner, this will be a dream day for him. The 3 features, to have a representative in each race.
Yep.
Surely it doesn't get any better.
No, and to be really live chances as well. He had the chance.
In each race.
Yeah. He could have gone to the railway with Luke's Luck, and he gave it a lot of thought, but decided that the WA Guineas was a good option, and I think it's turned into a tougher race than we thought it would, with the Academus and now the fillies coming into it as well with Fuddle to Duddle. But
for sure.
I think he deserves his place at the top of the market with his performances in open weight for age company.
Got to give Craig a pat on the back too, because last Thursday I was travelling down to I can't even remember where we were racing last Thursday.
Pinjarra?
Was it Pinjarra?
Bunbury
It was, yes. Craig rang up and made mention of the fact that he was going to the Guineas and, had seen support on the Railway Stakes markets. And he said, just can you get it out there, let people know that we're going to the Guineas.
That's great.
And, something like that, it might not mean a great deal to Craig, but it meant enough for him to look after others, and I thought that was a real, it meant a lot to me.
Yeah, no, look, he's a self-made man. He didn't get there by fluke or by luck. It's all by hard work. And he's a real sort of blue-collar guy when you dig down into his real persona. And he was thinking that there are a lot of West Australians backing this horse that were just going to do their money cold, and he wanted to get that message out.
That's great.
The battlers out there, don't go and leave your money in the bag.
Is Harry related to Craig?
Have a look at young Haz. He's got a week of work experience with us here at Perth Racing at the moment.
Harry, has Marty let you eat this morning? Good,
yes.
Good.
No, we had to feed him up. He looked a bit light on, a bit tucked up this morning, so he's eaten well.
Nice. Showing him the ropes, Marty. What a great experience for him to be on such a busy week as well.
Yeah, no, we picked that well.
Yeah, worked out nicely. So he's been able to see it all as it happens for the crescendo, of course, here on Saturday, for Super Saturday. Marty, we spoke to you earlier in the week, and we probably will again before Saturday, because we're getting close to 9 o'clock now, but the big race itself, you broke it down for us, the history that has to be broken for Lucky Gray to win this race. Now, the work was good this morning. We spoke to Gino this morning. He's a short price favourite going into this race. History says it's hard. The horse looks $1 million and ready to roll. But a horse like yours, 53 kilos, it's the right profile going in, isn't it?
It is, and you go, I think, since EI 2007, so there's been 4 runnings. 3 of those winners have been 9900 raters on the way through. The other was Sniper's Bullet. After he'd run second the year before, he'd come in with a pretty high rating, carried 56.5 and got the job done. But I think, and David Hunter agrees with me, we went through the ratings. This is as strong as, or maybe even stronger than 2008. When you have a look at the bottom runner is in on 98, 99. You know, Shamar Dashing on 97 couldn't get a run. In any of those previous years, Shamar Dashing would have been in this race. So it gives you an idea that for collective depth from bottom to top, our top rate is 116, and then I think we've got 4 in at 115 or 114. So it's a really strong renewal of the railway. I'm glad Niblick got in. I'm glad Machino got in. And it's now, it's now set itself up to let it unfold on Saturday.
Yeah, losing Faulkner, I don't think it's taken much away from this race.
Would have been great to have him in there,
sure,
Richard. And that was probably the whole disappointment of the week, because we almost got him there.
I thought he would have been the horse to beat if he arrived. His form through the spring had just been first class.
Look, David, when you have a look at the fact he'd gone from a handicap into a Group 1 at his first run at Group 1 company in the Emirates, which is one of the toughest 1,600-metre Group 1s in the country, and gone down a bob.
Oh, and he basically got left in front too early. That's all it was. If he'd have been held up that bit further, probably wins the race.
Without a doubt. And those horses, I think one leader won for the whole week at Flemington was Sartorius, who's an absolute gun.
Absolutely.
And we tried our very best to get him across here, but they'd already set their sights on bigger things during the spring next year. So, but once that door closes, it's gone, and you've got to deal with what you're left with. And I'm still very happy and proud with the race, and also the Winterbottom, the fact that Darley are here, that Gay are here, that Patnack are back. And that I would really think that in the future, if we can get that WA Guineas prize money up, that we could have 3 or 4 this time next year or the year after, 3 or 4 Eastern Staters come across, because when you have a look at the big stables, they've got a plethora of 3-year-olds.
My word.
And Peter took his time before deciding to go Tatra, which he got it right with the Sandown Guineas, and Proverb was another that could have come here, and it just flashed for third. And he decided, no, I'll send Academus across here. So
what are the chances, Marty, of getting the prize money up for the Guineas?
Oh, well, there's a long way to go. There's a lot of... We need some serious engagement from outside of our own industry, outside of RAH. We need, government support along the way. So, and the wheels are well and truly in motion to put forward the proposition that will attract that sort of sponsorship.
You've spoken about progressive horses like Sartorius. Even at this stage, do you have your eye on horses for next year's carnival?
Yeah.
Oh, I can butt in there, because I can vouch for Marty here. It would have been at least 12 months ago, Solzhenitsyn was earmarked for this point in time.
That really disappointed me with that, but that disappoints me. But there's other owners that come from New Zealand that's too far to fly. But if they had timed their run better And I know they won a 2-rack, but if they really wanted to come here and time their run, then they could have got here easily and come across. And he would have been super. Imagine Solzhenitsyn in the race with Faulkner. Yeah. It really would have been what we were sort of hoping for about the last two months.
And let's not forget what Hortensia's gone on to achieve after winning her 2 Winterbottom Stakes here in Perth. It's been remarkable what she's gone on to do on the world stage.
It was funny, I spoke to Peter Snowden over in Melbourne and we were talking about how strong a Winterbottom was going to be, and he said, well, I know Pinwheel, and I just hope this little setback he's had isn't too severe. And talking to him off here, he seems like he only needs that extra day. But he said, Pinwheel certainly got rarefied, covered a couple of lengths. Now, how would Hortensia go against Barrackey? And he threw that at me, and I've gone, well, that's not a bad question.
Yeah, it's a very good question.
Not a bad question. And so it'll be interesting to see how they line up on Saturday, because if Barrackey was to come out, keep that unbeaten winning streak intact, they've really seriously just got to be heading straight to Melbourne for the autumn and then hopefully get on a plane to Royal Ascot.
And things have changed a bit, haven't they, with the programming? Just thinking back to Hortensia 2009 and running the railway, and then a week later taking out the Winterbottom.
Yeah, and I think Glory Hunter did the same thing the year before. In 07 he did that. Yeah, so but I think we've got it right. The programming's right. There's no doubt about that.
That's great.
And the champion fillies leading into the Guineas is great for it as well, because it just gives another dimension to the race. When we were looking at the Guineas a couple of weeks ago, you thought, Luke's Luck, Academus, and that's about it, because the boys haven't been up to the girls. But now Fuddle the Duddle's come out of it, and a few of the other girls have come into the race.
Strong.
And really given it a bit of depth.
For sure. We've just got the latest too in regards to the shortness since the barrier draw. Pardon me. Fat Al's 8 into $7. Playing God 17 into 14. West River Kevidon 21 into 17. Machino's 8.50 into $8. Lucky Grey slightly easy, 3.50 out to 3.60. And Wall Street's got the big blows, 8 out to $12. So they were the initial shorteners, and also the drifters after the barrier draw this morning here, courtesy of Carlton Draft, the Railway Stakes. Wonderful lineup. You can understand most of those fluctuations and swings in with the pretty handy draws. Neville Parnham and the team.
God has spoken. What price has God has spoken there, Dave?
I don't have it right here.
She's never sounded pretty upbeat.
He's up and about. Look, of the workers today, I thought Wall Street struggled. He really he didn't concentrate, had a big look around, and I know he probably wasn't there to do a lot, but because he goes into this race third up, and I thought they might have had a plan to get him into this race, and his work today worried me a little, but most of the others worked really well.
The visitors, Yosei and West River Kevidon, drew beautifully, didn't they?
Yeah. Yosei and Wall Street.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. She
works super, Yosei. I had her down as one of the best workers of the morning. It was interesting to hear your interview with Stuart when he said that she normally does work well, and when she works well, she races well. Yeah. So it'll take a mighty ride, but Rod's the sort of jockey who can get behind a field, sweat on runs and pick his way through. So they've probably got the right man for the job. And
he made a good point too, in that she's come from last or second last a couple of times when she's drawn barrier 1.
Yep.
So from there, if you drop out, you're probably almost in the same spot anyway. So
her run in the Epsom was massive when she blew the start.
Oh, huge performance. We've talked about all these great horses. What about the jockeys that are coming over?
Great
the Bosses, the McAvoys, the Browns.
Rawilla.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one. A few years ago when we had that K-less Jockeys Challenge, which was on Winterbottom Day, then the week after the railway, Brown and Boss didn't want to come. And they said, no, we're off fishing, mate. We've had enough. Right? We're going surfing. And this year...
The fish aren't biting.
The fish aren't biting. The waves are flat because those two particular blokes...
Are dead keen.
Are dead keen. And I've been watching them riding. Obviously, Bosses... But I watched Corey Brown last week, I think at Wyong or somewhere on the Thursday, and he put in 2 sensational rides to win a double there. And I said, gee, this bloke is really switched on. He appears to me to be a rider who's dropped out of the Flemington Carnival, and he's riding against lesser lights who are just not up in his league at the moment. So Corey Brown, Glenn Boss, Michael Rodd, who was sensational through the Flemington Carnival.
Right in the last on Saturday was just magnificent.
Nash is the bloke who needs to find some form. It'd be fair to say he was he was flying before Melbourne arrived, and then when he went down to his old hometown, it wasn't very kind to him.
Karen McAvoy riding in good form. We'll miss Craig Williams.
We will miss Craig, and it's a shame that Japan happens to be on this weekend. But, and the last interview you did with him, Shorty, he was almost apologetic for what he was.
Yeah, he was devastated that he couldn't join us. He always loves his time across there and brings back great memories for him, of course, with Hortensia.
We just have the wrong sushi. That's all it is.
Well, we're talking about food. Bad news, mate. It's all gone.
Yeah,
you've missed out, champion.
I told Shorty that.
You know what I told you? It's karma for you taking the mick out of poor Jared, having to walk home and eat air biscuits.
We've got a surprise for Wes because Des has looked after us, and there's a big plate for him at the back of the kitchen.
I'm starting the Duramine tomorrow.
You shouldn't really be telling everyone that, Wes.
No, it's fine. They're legal these days.
They're on the ban list, of performance-enhancing drugs. So I hope the stewards aren't listening. They might swab you.
I got told I got the old-fashioned ones too.
Oh, they work well. I can tell you that. I can vouch for that.
Oh, nice. Well, Marty, it's been a pleasure having you on. To yourself and the rest of the team at Perth Racing, another great morning out here. We've really enjoyed it. To have the opportunity to see the horses working, all the big names, we really do appreciate, and hopefully our listeners and everybody that came along today as well really did. A big day on Saturday. I know you're all flat out, so we wish you all the very best for what I'm sure will be the best ever Super Saturday.
Let's hope it is, David. Thanks for your support here at Racing Radio. 26 degrees, maybe.
Oh, perfect.
How good's that big weather?
Lovely.
Absolutely perfect. And if it does get hot, there's plenty of shade. The umbrellas that the team have put in here now has really changed the dynamic of the racecourse and offers a lot more shade for people. So we saw that on Melbourne Cup Day and opening day. So no shortage of shade here at Ascot these days.
Good on you, Marty. Good luck to yourself, the rest of the team, and also to Craig with his 3 runners, and King Saul. Go get him on Saturday.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, good luck. All the best, Harry.
Very nice work.
Enjoy the week.
Marty Young here on the Big Breakfast on Racing Radio.